Welcome to today's webcast, Getting Around User Workarounds, Security to Account for Human Nature. Today's sponsor is Blackberry, and today's presenter is Koray Rungi. As Principal Product Marketing Manager of Blackberry, Koray is focused on Blackberry's robust suite of enterprise, mobile, and desktop productivity applications, modern unified endpoint management, and security. He specializes and is responsible for the legal industry market needs and trends when it comes to security, mobility, and productivity. And now, as we begin today's webcast, I would like to pass our ball over to Koray Rungi, who will now begin today's presentation. Koray.
Hi, good day, thank you. Great introduction there, appreciate that. Today we're going to focus on the data and cybersecurity for a legal industry. Again, getting around user workarounds, security that accounts for human nature. Protecting data in a law firm can be critical, we know, both from a reputation and from a business standpoint. So today, I really want to present the perception and reality of cybersecurity, data protection, and specifically within law firms. And then I'm going to focus on some examples on how end users may work around existing security and some IT tools and some helpful alternatives for employees and lawyers alike to get work done when and where they need to, and of course without sacrificing security and promoting productivity. So there we go. So for an agenda, we set out a few months ago to work with IDG Research to conduct a survey around legal firm security, and I'll go through the background and data on that. And then I'll talk about some workaround examples and some alternatives to workarounds that we may be seeing or hearing within the industry, and again, some alternatives that are available in the market today, and provide a brief summary of what we've talked about here and what the survey results have. So again, a few months ago, we went to IDG with an objective to identify technology and security challenges, specifically within legal firms. We positioned a 17-question online survey that was fielded between May 23rd and June 6th of this year, 2019, and we had 100 U.S. and U.K. law firm partners, attorneys, and IT decision makers at the manager level or above, and we focused on large firms with 500 or more employees. And again, we wanted to use the expertise of IDG and them conducting surveys to build a hypothesis around confidence within cyber defenses, within cybersecurity, and with mobile security posture as well. And we had the hypothesis of are law firms overconfident? The data came from the perspective of this hypothesis, right? Are law firms overconfident? And what we noticed in the survey results, and I'll go into them in great detail, is that the level of confidence is quite high, particularly in light of the increasing technical and financial resources of an attacker. Right? We don't see specific individuals, either within or external to the company or to the firm, being the likely candidate for these attackers. But what we're really seeing is that technical and organized, well-financed, and even state-sponsored organizations with expertise in marketing, customer service, and it can be really quite sophisticated, especially in the case of some ransomware companies. And again, this confidence is quite high as we're seeing more and more technical and financial resources get poured into attackers looking for vulnerabilities. And we also see another problem, hypothesis that the introduction of new applications, new software as a service, other tools, introduce new vulnerabilities that other cybersecurity plans and mobility security may not consider. And specifically here at Blackberry, right, we had a hypothesis based on our mobile strategy and based on our mobile platform that, and what we hear with all of the advances in great consumer cloud tools that are out there that help people communicate and share data, there's a need and a want for employees and everyone to use these fun and easy to use consumer applications that in some cases are also free, and they're pretty ubiquitous. But this does produce and promote new vulnerabilities, especially on the mobile side, that could lead to employee workarounds and may end up being a backdoor, right? And this backdoor could lead to one vulnerability or one breach. Can really be a problem for a firm or a company. And so we want to focus on those workarounds and, again, the perception between the confidence of cybersecurity and security posture and how employees are really getting work done every day, especially when they're on their mobile device. So I'm going to jump into, again, this is a survey conducted by IDG, and what we saw is legal firms typically have a high confidence in their security. Over 90% of all respondents were completely confident or very confident. And clearly to their credit, right, IT and CSOs have confidence in the security posture. These are things that they have set up, and they believe the policies they put in place protect the firm from vulnerabilities and from any data leakage, right? That's really what we're trying to prevent here. Personal information leaving, client data leaving the secure container, getting out into the wrong hands, and malicious hands as well. When you break it down between the respondents of IT professionals and decision makers versus the partners and attorneys using products or using the mobility products or the security and IT tools that are given to them, we see that IT professionals are somewhat less confident, especially versus the lawyers in the security posture. And this makes sense, right? I think IT professionals, they understand the problem a little bit more. They're a little bit more nuanced into the problems that might be facing them within their company or within their security solutions. But and they also might be a bit self-impressed, right? IT professionals saying that they're completely confident in their security firm is not really on brand. But we're still seeing that 90% of completely confident or very confident in their security posture, which again I think is interesting, right? The belief that if everyone follows existing policies and everyone follows his best practices, that this confidence is founded. But is the cyber defense confidence, is it really justified if we're really only seeing half of legal firms have brought in third-party security help? So we asked the question of have you, in the last 24 months, what steps have you taken to improve your security readiness, cybersecurity readiness? And you can see over 80% of all respondents had taken some measure internally to improve cybersecurity readiness, business continuity plans, or train or upskill existing IT team. But really, only 50% have brought in a third party to consult or help manage threats. And again, we're seeing attacks are becoming more and more sophisticated and morphing rapidly, and this could really be a problem. And we believe that third party can be a real benefit to identify some things that may not have been protected, and have an external and objective party or consultant communicate on problems that may have been overlooked. And really, we believe that this can help identify and remediate any security posture issues. So again, just a bit of more information based on the survey on overconfidence, on steps that are being taken to improve security readiness within firms and companies. But is there, again, back to our hypothesis, is there an overconfidence? And we do see an overconfidence, right? We asked a question in the survey of how do you believe your firm's cybersecurity posture compares to industry peers and competitors? Similar size, similar industry, competitors, and we found that over 50% and over 80% believe that their security posture within their law firm was stronger or much stronger than their peers, right? And this, again, is pretty interesting data. We know that law firms have strict and stringent processes, and we know in some cases law firms have very strict processes and policies in place, and there could be a belief that everyone is following all the security policies and guidelines, and that could be something that's leading to this policy shown here, especially when, again, compared to peers in the industry, competition, and firms of a similar size. So again, we're testing this hypothesis before the survey. Is there an overconfidence in security policy? And we believe the survey results bear that out. However, as we get through more of the survey, we kind of see that reality rears its ugly head a bit, right? Most law firms and most employees and partners and attorneys feel that they need to work around existing IT policies to get their work done. And we saw that number was close to 80% of end users work around IT policies to get their work done, right, as a simple yes or no. And we, as Blackberry, we know that workarounds exist, not just in law firms, but in all industries, right? People want to get their work done, and they'll be creative in doing so. But we were a bit surprised by this number, and we wanted to validate with IDG as well, because we know that they've conducted, more surveys than us, and they're experts in cybersecurity surveys and in results and kind of understanding trends within this space. And it was a really surprising number from their standpoint as well, right? This is a dramatic number of workarounds that employees feel like they need to do to get around IT policies and just to be productive. And again, we know that workarounds happen, but this is a serious problem. It turns out workarounds aren't just happening, but it is how work gets done, and there may be security policies and compliance in place, and that confidence is there, but what's being said and versus what we're seeing done within this survey is very different and very interesting. And it did feel like we're on to something here with the confidence versus kind of the reality of what respondents were saying. And then again, this is the same group of respondents within this survey, of course. So do law firms need personal and mobile platforms? We, again, digging into these numbers of workarounds, we see that 3/4 of employees violate IT policies at least once a week, if not more. So it would seem that would be the case. And again, at Blackberry, we're focusing on mobile use cases. I think one of the important things that we focus on is what the device does and what the applications do, but it may be more important to focus on, does it provide a means of protection when the users need to get their work done, right? We balance security and productivity all the time, right? We're producing, at Blackberry, we're producing security applications, secure productivity applications, and how do you make something really secure without limiting productivity, right? So that's a balance that we at Blackberry always play. There's a worry about data leakage, and there's a need for a platform that can keep lawyers and firms protected, again, without inhibiting that productivity, and that's really important, right? As soon as security measures and posture becomes too difficult for a user to get through, or there's roadblocks for someone to get their work done when they're on the go or on the train, they're going to find other ways to get their work done, right? This is inherent. This is human nature. We need to get something done. I need to get something out to my client. I'm going to find a way to do it that's easiest for all parties. So we can really see the problem here, right? If we see 75% of employees work around policies at least once a week, we multiply that by number of firms, by number of employees within those firms, and especially as firms are an extension of clients and companies that they're representing, we're really seeing that this number gets large rather quickly, right? And we hear that it only really takes one breach, one vulnerability to become a real problem, and actually give away sensitive data that wouldn't want to be in the wrong hands. So despite IT violations and confidence is high, we need technology that meets users' needs. And I think that, again, this was the hypothesis that we came up with, and this is the kind of the findings that were bore out from the survey that was conducted. So again, despite IT violations, law firms, do believe that they're adequately securing customer data and their reputation. and that confidence is very high. But again, there is that need for technology to meet user needs, providing security, and allowing for the tools and using the native tools that they're using, and promoting that productivity for end users. So now I'm going to jump into some of the work and not workarounds that we want to focus on. And I want to highlight a few things, right? So the survey focuses on workarounds within the legal firm, but I think I mentioned before, right, at Blackberry, we work with a large number of regulated and compliance industries, not just legal, regulated industries, and this is not unique to legal in any way, right? We work with big banks, defense, healthcare. The survey results were surprising as we focus on mobile workarounds, and where we see more workarounds on mobile than we do on the desktop, which are pretty well secured. However, again, these workarounds are not specific to legal. And like I mentioned before, right, the mobile and native and consumer tools that we're seeing, we see the user's desire to get work done with those tools. These are tools that their clients are using. These are tools that are used externally, or these are tools that they use in their everyday to communicate and share data. I want to say that we see these workarounds. They come from a good place, right? They are the desire and the creativity of end users to get their work done. So it is something that we want to sort of embrace as end users are again trying to get their work done. And so the good news, of course, here is that there are a number of solutions in the market that can help us focus on that work and giving users the tools that they're accustomed to, and prevent workarounds and focus on that work and not the workarounds. So I'm going to go through a couple of examples here and how we can keep the business secure while also promoting that productivity. So the first example is that lawyer on the train, right? So we see a number of use cases, especially with an iPad and desire to edit documents using the fidelity and native features of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. But in order to do that on an iPad in a normal circumstance, you would need to have that data leave a secure container or a managed application and enter into the native Office application. So this is a workaround that we see quite often. And I'm going to focus on, in this example, and I know a lot of firms use different content repositories, but in this example I'm going to focus on iManage, which is a very popular tool within law firms on managing cases and matters. One thing that we do here within Blackberry is we have a robust suite of applications, productivity applications, built on the Blackberry Dynamics container. So this is a secure container, an encrypted container that is completely managed by a single Blackberry unified endpoint manager. And what I'm going to show here is integration between iManage, Blackberry, and Microsoft. So here I'm opening the Blackberry Work application, which is our secure email and PIM application. I can view all of my emails, presents. I can view and download documents and attachments that are shared with me. And again, the use case is wanting to be able to edit a document on my mobile device. I'm on a train using Microsoft, right? Format, that native features within Microsoft on my iPad is really important. So we know that Microsoft Intune provides a managed application, and we built an application called Blackberry Bridge that can communicate between our Dynamics container and Intune managed applications and transfer data, like files, between the two of them in a secure way. So here I'll open a budget sheet within Blackberry Work. I can view this securely, and I have a number of different actions I can take on the file. I can view it online. I can transfer it to another partner application like iManage, which I'll touch on in a moment. Or I can edit that document using the native Microsoft Excel on my iPad. And again, this is all secured between Dynamics and Intune. So here I'm opening Blackberry Bridge, I'm opening the Excel application, and this is the native Microsoft Excel application managed with Intune, but managed on a single Blackberry UAM. So the entire pathway of this document is managed from Blackberry Work, attachments, to the Intune managed Microsoft Excel application. So here I'm, again, being able to have that fidelity and that formatting of a Microsoft product and a native product. These are the consumer products that we know lawyers want to use, and so I can do that again easily using BlackBerry technology managed with BlackBerry UEM. The second example here is opening the iManage Work application on BlackBerry. So it's iManage Work for BlackBerry using the again BlackBerry Secure Dynamics container. And one use case that if you're using the iManage mobile app today is actually being able to edit documents securely from iManage, right? That isn't available today within a popular tool like iManage. So here within the iManage application, this is a native look and feel for an end user using iManage. We can open up a merger document, I can view it within this, but if I need to make edits, if I want to track changes, redline and blackline any of the merger agreement, again, on the device in real time, I need to get it to my client this moment, I can use BlackBerry Bridge, transfer this merger agreement securely to Microsoft Intune, Microsoft Word, again, managed within UEM. And here I can take all of the track changes, I can view track changes, I can add changes myself, and really go through an entire review process, which we know is really important within all industries, but specifically within law firms, within partners and lawyers. And I can move and accept, and I can, again, do everything that I would want to and need to be able to do within a Microsoft application for a specific document. Once I'm finished with that, using the power of BlackBerry and the BlackBerry Dynamics platform, I can then transfer this file securely using BlackBerry Bridge to any BlackBerry application that I have on my device. So I can email it using BlackBerry Work, I can save it back into the iManage application. In this case, I'm going to email the file using BlackBerry Work, adding that edited attachment directly into a new email, and sending it to specific participants. So again, this is a common workaround that we see of users needing to be able to edit a document using Microsoft, but doing it in a way that could lead to some data leakage. So with BlackBerry and UEM app management, we provide the tool to allow the user to do that in a secure way without compromising any security or providing any or giving any vulnerability for any client data, or especially mergers and acquisitions, right? Confidential information from getting outside of the firm's management. So that's one example of Microsoft working with BlackBerry. The second example is around our advanced DRM application, which is BlackBerry Workspaces. So this is a unique file level DRM solution that we have at BlackBerry that allows users to share and manage content stored on any backend or any backend that you might be using, and add a specific rights management at the file level to be able to share it. And here you'll see, I'm going to talk about iManage Work, but a lot of firms use other type of content management repositories. So anything that is CMIS can be integrated into Workspaces, and we also have integration with consumer cloud document repositories like Dropbox. And what we don't mind or care where the document is stored. We add an extra layer of security and permissions on top of files or folders that are shared that give both the user and the firm and IT full visibility into this. So here I'm in iManage, I'm viewing my matters, my folders. I can share a folder externally. I can manage access to that folder, again, using the mobile application here. So if I'm on the train and I need to share a workspace or a case with someone, Bob at Legal Experts, I can do that, and I can do that by adding file level permissions. So again, this is a iManage stored folder or case or matter. And I can add permissions, full access, download protected, view only, view online. So I have full control over Bob at Legal Expert's access to all of the files or specific files that are stored within my iManage matter. I can limit printing, and I can add a watermark so that when Bob at Legal Expert opens this, it has his name and timestamp, and I can set an expiration. And what's really great about this is when the case is over and Bob at Legal Expert no longer needs access to some of these case files, I can revoke as an end user or as an IT admin, I can revoke access to this workspace in real time. So I always have control over the file. And here, as an end user, I can track and view file activities that Bob at Legal Expert is doing as well. So view when they open the file, who they shared the file with, at what time and where. Again, this file is stored within a native iManage repository, something that all law firms and lawyers might be used to. But as an end user and as an IT admin, I have full visibility into where that file is going, who's viewing the file, and have control to always bring it back if I need to. And again, once that case is over and access isn't needed anymore, that file access can be revoked in real time. So we're adding a level of rights management on top of files that are stored that lawyers and partners are using that they might share just externally with their normal email or send to a Gmail, right? And that file, once it leaves the firm, once it leaves the iManage container via an email, it's gone forever, right? And we don't know where that goes anymore. And so that's a common workaround that we see. And with workspaces integrated with iManage or other content management systems that you might be using, we really prevent that workaround and that data leakage from happening. So that's, go back. So that's all I have today. I want to thank everybody for joining and taking your time today to learn about the survey results, which again I thought were very interesting in how we're seeing workarounds and how we're seeing end users get around IT policies and security, and learn about some solutions that are existing today, especially within Blackberry, but within the market, and how you can prevent some of these workarounds and provide users the tools that they need to get the work done, right? They're being creative, they're being human and wanting to get their work done, and they'll do it in any means necessary. And I believe at Blackberry we have the tools and the security to help facilitate end users getting their work done within your law firms. So I think we have a few minutes for some questions.
Thank you, Corey. That was all great information. And yes, we do have a few questions before we let you go. The first one is just, what would be an acceptable threshold for user workarounds?
I don't know if there is a acceptable threshold, right? I think the goal would be 0, but I don't know if that's realistic. When we first started the survey, I think we thought we'd get to maybe about 50% of users were working around, maybe a little bit less than 50 would probably be ideal. I think it depends on who you ask, right? Within IT professionals, they would want that number much, much lower, as everybody would, and I'm sure end users would as well, right? They would rather not have to work around IT policies as well. We were very surprised at something up around 80%. And I do believe when we set out for the survey with IDG, our hypothesis was closer, to the 40 to 50 range, and I think that could be a little bit more manageable. The frequency was also, I think, the most surprising, right? This wasn't something that, I do every once in a while. 80% of people might work around something, to get a specific task done once a month or once a year. Right, we're seeing this multiple times a week, and that is probably the most concerning thing. And that threshold, it would I think be much more important to get that threshold down to a much less frequent time. But that's a great question. Thank you.
Okay. Another question we had that came in is this security issue just something that you're seeing within the legal industry, or are you seeing it elsewhere?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned that before. We don't have the same data for other industries that we do in this survey. I think that'll be something that we look into doing. I know this is not specific to legal. We understand that the needs and work that's specific to legal, especially within external sharing, working with external parties, clients, is a bit unique to legal. So I don't think I'm surprised that the number is higher than that. I wouldn't be surprised if the number ended up being higher than in other industries. But we know that workarounds are happening everywhere. And again, it's not unique to legal. But I just think the nature of the work tends to lend itself to more workarounds or just kind of the openings to need to get stuff done in a timely manner, especially with things that are outside of the firm, right? Within financial services, within government, right? Things can be a little bit more in-house. And so, data leakage possibilities just decrease a bit. But another good question.
Okay. What about, is there more information out there as far as how we can improve productivity for our attorneys in the digital era? Yeah, so we have a number of white papers and other legal-focused productivity solutions on our website, blackberry.com. Specifically, we have a legal industry page there as well. So there's a lot more information, and please reach out if you do have any questions around workspaces, file sharing. We also have some new things coming with AI security and contextual security as well that would help manage data leakage, manage user authentication. That's all coming. That again isn't just legal specific, but I think will be really important for security and productivity for all regulated industries as a whole. But yeah, please go to blackberry.com or reach out if you have any questions. Okay, and then the last question that we had come in is specific to, we're exploring giving our lawyers their own Chromebooks instead of iPads. We're also considering allowing our lawyers to use their personal device. How do we enable them to complete the workflows and the workarounds?
Yeah, so we see a number of law firms kind of moving towards a bring your own desktop, like a Chromebook, or sort of a kiosk mode. We have the same applications that I showed on a mobile device are also available on Chromebook and on Mac and Windows. So if you do have a deployment of bringing your own laptop or Chromebook, or you have maybe interns or someone who doesn't need to have an entire new device for themselves, you can have sort of a kiosk or a login per user, specific times using a Chromebook or using a corporate-owned desktop, but don't want to give full access. We have applications built on BlackBerry Dynamics that can enable the same productivity, the same tools that I showed for offline editing in a secure container, without the need of VPN, and that, again, is completely managed within our BlackBerry UEM. So we have a number of tools that can do very similar, if not the same, workflows that I have shown with mobile on a desktop, and provide some of the deployment models that we see are coming, like you said, with the Chromebook or with Bring Your Own Desktop, and we have a robust modern management tool that can manage all the applications on a desktop and the desktop itself. And so that's something that we do as well.
Great. Well, thank you, Corey, for all of that informative information, and thank you to all of our attendees for joining and submitting some questions. This concludes today's webcast. Thank you all for attending, and there will be a recording available tomorrow at legalmarketplace.alanet.org. We will send all registrants an email tomorrow with this link, and please visit our event calendar to sign up for future webcasts. Again, Corey, thank you so much, and this concludes today's event.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.